Now for a movie rant break, One Up presents a movie rant break.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Movie Rant Break. Back with another dope episode with a returning guest. We got John Smith.
You already know what the fuck going on. This is John Smith. We in this bitch. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Today, for all of your pleasure, we are reviewing Black Adam. Okay? Black Adam with Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
It's The Rock. It's just The Rock.
I know. I hate when they try to switch their name. Like, you're The Rock. Like, why can't you still be The Rock? Are you trying to take yourself more seriously? Is that what it is? Or Dwayne The Rock Johnson? Like, no one gives a fuck what your name is, boy.
Yeah. No, I feel that.
I mean, the fuck do I don't know.
The Rock.
It's The Rock, but whatever. So, directed by Jaum, call it Sarah. Dude, come on. Jaume? Tell me how you say that.
Jaume?
Yeah.
Juan.
No. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Sorry, that's what's happening. Written by Adam. Rory.
Black Adam?
Sarab. Like, bro, I'm sorry. Starring The Rock. See, keep it easy for me. Appreciate him. Aldis Hodge, Noah Centineo, Sarah Shahi, Marwan Kanzari, Quintessa Swindell, Mo Amr, Bodhi Sabangu, or Bangwa.
You're killing this right now.
Pierce Brosnan.
Keep going.
Cinematography, Lawrence Scher. Edited by Mike Saleh. John Lee. Music by Lauren Balfe. That's all I got. Runtime of 124 minutes. Rated PG-13, which originally, fun fact, I think it was rated R, where they took out a couple scenes that gave it the R rating for violence.
Yeah.
Budget of 195 to 200 million, with currently,
standard,
as of November 2nd, it's made 254.8 million at the box office, which is
Congrats. Rock.
They made their money back.
Biggest opening weekend in Rock history.
Is it?
Yes. 63, I think it was opening weekend. It was his biggest opening he's ever had.
Okay. And it came out October 21st. So it's been out for
just
a week and a half?
Yeah, just over
almost 2 weeks. So it's done okay, you could say.
Yeah, it's done very well, actually.
Yeah.
It's busted over its budget, which is nice.
Yeah, I mean, you make your money back. I always say, like,
not including marketing, obviously. You know, this project was in the works for 7 years.
I feel like that is including their marketing budget.
No, it's not.
How do you know?
It's just not. Whenever they show budget, it doesn't include marketing. It's just the budget to actually make the movie. But like,
it says you.
It says the way it is.
Okay. Where do you get these facts? Wiki?
No, it's just like I do a lot of movie listening podcasts. That's just what I do.
It's fucking despicable.
Did you just look at the camera? Did you just break the fourth wall?
I can talk to all the walls. Just so this guy, stupid as fuck.
Yo, but check this out. They've been working on this project for a long time. Like, The Rock has wanted this for a very long time.
I heard that.
Like, he's been pushing for this, and he finally got it, and I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him.
Why?
Because he deserves it.
Shut the fuck up.
No, I thought it was his best role he's ever been in.
I agree. That or The Rundown.
Yeah, The Rundown was good.
The Rundown was great. Yeah. I would say this would be his second best role, because with Sean William Scott in The Rock and The Rundown, that was before The Rock got super famous.
Right.
And Sean William Scott, I think, was the headliner in that film. Like, he was top on billing.
Yeah.
So
The Rock was still just famous for wrestling.
And he did such a good job, and I think that's what allowed him to step into Hollywood. I'm sure he did a movie or two before. I would assume if he just was doing a film with Sean William Scott. But that movie he crushed. Like, was just such a good role for him. And I don't remember the film very much so, but I remember it being good. Was the Walking Tall. That was good. It had Johnny Knoxville in it, if you remember.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen it, but yes,
I would say that was like his third best, and this might be number 2. And I was hoping that this would be that for him because there's another film or another actor I'm not really into him, and especially as a person.
Yeah,
I'm not. I just think he's we don't need to get into it, but I'm just not a fan.
Yeah,
but
you don't align with his political views.
Just like a lot of his he's a clout chasing person that really just loves. He's obsessed with. He's egotistical naturally. Like he likes the center of attention. He's the center of attention. Like
I want to just preface before we dive too deep into this movie. I'm gonna go light on it, and the reason I'm gonna go light on it isn't because there isn't a ton of holes and issues and shit that's wrong with it. It's because I have very low expectations for anything DCEU right now. And it's been that way since we kind of got let down with Batman vs Superman. It's I gave up. I thought the Snyder cut kind of redeemed itself with the Justice League, but at the same time, it's very, very small redeeming qualities. So I went into this movie the first time I saw it. I've seen it twice at this point. I went into the first time I saw it with super, super low expectations, expecting it to be dog shit. It wasn't dog shit. It was entertaining. I turned my brain off, enjoyed myself. Second time, I went in with knowing what I was getting into and still was able to enjoy it. But obviously, I'm not going to compare this to the top level, tier movies in the.
Are you
in the superhero film genre,
and especially the day and age that we're in, we've seen so many superhero films, and we've seen a really good run with some of them. And I think being too critical or too comparison with them, trying to compare them to kind of the OG films, being kind of like the first run of Marvel,
right?
They did a really good job. Or even with DC's end of things, like The Dark Knight. A lot of times we compare Batman films because there's fucking a ton of them, or DC films, compare them to the Nolan trilogy,
right?
And I think sometimes people need to, including ourselves, need to look more objectively with a standalone film what this is offering instead of what it compares to from what we've already seen.
Yeah, and I think there's also the fact that don't get me wrong, I'm gonna tear this movie apart on this podcast because that's what we fucking do here.
Hey,
but
at the movie rant break.
But nonetheless, I just you're 100% right in the fact that we don't need to compare everything with what we've already seen. But it's also you also have to kind of take into consideration what modern day audiences want. That doesn't include me. I like story driven movies. I like movies that are built around character development. I like movies with great writing. This movie had too much action in it for me. There was a lot of action, more action than was needed. You could have spent a lot more time with characters. There's a lot of interesting characters here that they didn't spend enough time with.
No,
and we'll go into more detail. I'm being just super general, but I thought for the modern day audience that's kind of dumb, likes Fast and the Furious movies, with The Rock, holding helicopters with a chain and stuff. They enjoy stuff like that. It works in kind of both lights,
I think he was destined to be in a superhero film, and I think his acting career, personally, I think it would have done him a lot more justice if he came out the gate doing this film. Him doing all the roles as Black Adam,
too many comedies and stuff.
He's like Black Adam in almost all his other films, so it's if he had done this first, I think it would have done him more justice, no pun intended, for his acting career, and me as liking his body of work, overall, because I knew when I saw that he was cast as Black Adam, it looked very appropriate,
right? I mean, do you remember? And I don't want to get too far, but he got CGI to get smaller, not bigger.
Shut up. In other films?
No, it's in this movie. When he was the small version of himself, not Shazammed. They had to CGI him to get smaller, not bigger. The only other time that happened was Captain America, but that's a little different. They CGI him to be extra small. This is he was already freakish, superhero size. They had to CGI him to get smaller.
Shout out to him for being a complete savage with that.
Absolute savage.
Brief breakdown of this film. It's just the origin story of Black Adam. Obviously, we don't need to go into it. It's kind of typical of most origin stories for a superhero film. I mean, this is more of an anti-hero film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But and I think it actually worked out as a good anti-hero film, personally.
Yeah.
But getting into the film, First off, before I start critiquing some of the more particulars of the film, I do want to say shout out to them how they made Black Adam's entrance so good. It was such a. So I would argue that it could be the best intro and slash entrance a villain hero has made in Marvel or DC. Like,
it's definitely up there for sure.
It's top 3, easy.
Yeah.
The fact that he's got the hood on, which is super gangster. I was sad that it went away for a while.
Yeah,
because the hood swag was super dope.
Fire. Yeah.
And
his first words is "Your magic is weak." I was like, "Word!"
Swag,
like his bullets.
Yeah. And then his entrance includes ripping someone's arm off, smashing people around like dolls. He grabs this dude by the throat and completely
fries him.
Disintegrates him into a skull. The skull rolls down and he's shooting lightning bolts. There's Apache helicopters, and he says like that one sentence, "Your magic is weak," and just rapes everybody.
And see, this is the thing. Like, I completely agree with you. And there's a lot of people who hate this movie. There's a lot of people who think that it sucks. Yada yada yada. Like, I don't care what anyone says. We have not seen this kind of anti-hero doing this much damage to human lives.
His body count is
ever
high.
Ever. Have we? Like, I really genuinely don't think we have. I think that every anti-hero story, whether it's Marvel, DC, whatever the case is, they tread too lightly on that. Like, if you think of what's his name? In Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Bucky?
No, the other Captain America, the new Captain America, what's his name?
The new Captain America.
Yeah. The new Captain America, the one they announced, Agent whatever.
I don't even remember. He was so whack.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about. He's an anti-hero, right? Like, he was supposed to be, what the fuck is his name, dude? It's killing me. But nonetheless, he's supposed to be like, he kills one guy with his shield, remember? Yeah. And it's like bloody shield, and it's like, oh my God, he's a bad guy. It's like, we've never seen an anti-hero like murdering people on this level. So no matter what people say they hate about this movie, regardless, and there's a ton of stuff, especially it's kind of ironic because this movie has a ton of shit that we've seen in tons of other superhero movies. Like, it's almost like copycat stuff in a lot of ways. Slow-mo.
Like, cue the Rolling Stones.
Doctor fucking Future is Doctor Strange or whatever the fuck his name is. Dr. Fate. He's super, but he's literally Doctor Strange. Like, he does everything Doctor Strange does.
Yeah, but in fairness, like, DC and Marvel always have.
I know. And like, we have Ant-Man in this movie, Atom Smasher. It's like all copycat stuff. But the one thing that they did that no other superhero movie has done is just the way that like a person who is painted as the hero in this is just murdering people. It's fucking awesome, dude.
Black Adam has the highest body count.
Yeah, objectively dope. It was so fun to watch just someone that you're supposed to fuck with that like just straight up murders bad guys. You're just word, dude. Fuck you.
Definitely. Yeah. And yeah, like you talk about copycat, they do the slow-mo in the intro, which has also made a great entrance. They pretty much did all of the things that ever worked well. They had the Rolling Stones in there, which was cool. Yeah, you know, because they
had Kanye West, which is so funny in the current time right now with all the Kanye West stuff happening.
Yeah, shout out to Kanye. He makes bangers. I don't care what anybody says about him.
His music's very good.
I fuck with Kanye West,
and He's never been very well spoken.
He's not very well spoken, but he makes valid points, even though he articulates maybe not how people want him to. But I empathize with him a lot, and I think people need to get off Kanye's back. But nonetheless, best entrance by any hero of sorts or villain. Black Adam is probably top 3, and I also thought his final fight scene was really dope, and exit of the film was really strong. And the final fight scene when he's fighting that demonic whatever the fuck
demon
hero. It was like demonic
champion. Demon champion.
I think it's a demonic champion or something. But when he finally gets his punchline right, at the end he's like, "Tell him the man in black sent you," and then splits this demon in half. Yeah. And I thought it was a cool, like the line hit hard for me because the fact that he's sending the demon back to hell, and he's like, "Tell him the man in black set you," and then like rips the demon in half. Like, that's pretty dope. Yeah. Like, I don't care who you are. That's
I liked it. I didn't entirely like the fight. I thought it was too much Like there was so much two people flying around punching each other in this movie. It was too much for me. Like between him and the Falcon dude, or what the fuck is his name? Hawkman, yeah. Which outfit is ridiculous. I have to say that is the most ridiculous outfit I've ever seen in action.
I want to get to all the characters in the outfits.
Yeah, we'll get there. So anyway, there was just a lot of flying around fighting in this movie, like too much for me.
Because they're
CGI to flying around, and like that's the only worry I have about this like Superman Black Adam thing that's gonna happen, because they're gonna fight each other. It's just gonna be like lasers and blue and red, like zzz, and flying around CGI. It's
so
like
that's why they were kind of queuing that up. Why there was so much flying and punching. Yeah. He's supposed to be a villain of Superman's
anti-hero. Yeah,
he's a villain.
Yeah, anti-hero.
It's both. Fuck people that want to like argue the discrepancies. There is a discrepancy, but like Black Adam is a villain to Superman, and Black Adam is an anti-hero. Just the same.
Yeah, I don't know the lore. I'm sorry. I was just
no, but like Thanos is a villain, but he is an anti-hero. He's a villain to the heroes, but an anti-hero, is matter of factly speaking, if you will.
Right.
And I also thought his end sequence where he crushes the throne because he says it feels wrong by sitting on a throne. I was like, swag. That was a really good moment.
No, I liked it.
Rewinding back to the beginning of the film, that I thought was funny. When the chick finally, they're going to the tomb, right? Where Black Adam is imprisoned. There's this group of treasure hunters or whatever the fuck they are. They don't really get into that.
Yeah, they're the same people. Are you talking about the gang? Inner gang?
No. The
girl?
The girl and her friends.
So they're not treasure hunters. So she's trying. So this is the whole motivation, and this is where the movie kind of slips a little bit. She's climbing into that cave to get that crown because she said that the enemy is getting too close to finding it, so we need to relocate it. So first and foremost, like this thing is supposed to have been hidden there for 5,000 years, and you can just like walk into the cave and it's got a fucking hole in the top of it. You're telling me like nobody found that shit in 5,000 years? That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard, first of all. It clearly looks like the tomb has been raided. Like it doesn't look like it's been untouched. It's not like she like did some weird code or something and like opened up a door that's never been opened or a hidden door. So like
don't even start with that. Like so she'll get it on the third try.
Yeah, right.
Code. She's like, it's not that. It's not my birthday. It's not his birthday. It's Black Adam's birthday. And they like get in. You're like, oh
dude, but like God, it's just like it was just like she walked into a fucking cave with an open ceiling with a fucking crown that's not hidden, just hanging up there, hovering. It's like, dude, like come on. So, but the whole reason they're doing it is because she thinks that they're getting too close to finding it, so she needs to get it and relocate it.
Okay, so she gets there, right? And then I thought her clipping it to her fucking clip. What the fuck do you call those things? Like the harness clips?
Oh yeah. Like they're for climbing and shit.
Yeah. She like takes the fucking.
I fucked with that.
Oh, you did? She takes and puts the crown on the clip. I'm like, that thing was just hovering in midair in a tomb. You're just gonna clip it to your.
Well, I think it's even funnier that fucking she comes home and like her brother's just sitting there with it on his head. She's like, dude, you know it's possessed by demons, right? He's like, yeah, I know. Like, he doesn't give a fuck. He's just wearing the fucking crown.
I like missed that. Like,
dude, yeah, when she comes into the house, she's like, where's the crown? She opens up the DVD player and she like pops it, or the VHS, and she pops it open. It was supposed to be hidden in there. She's like, brother, where's the crown? Or whatever the fuck her brother's name is. And he's like, she looks over at him and he's just got it on his head like eating chips.
That dude was ridiculous. He gets shot in the stomach, her brother. And then Dr. Fate gets there and he's like, am I going to die? Because he finds out he can see the future. He's like, no, you're going to make it. He's like, well, how, like, can you tell me how I'm going to die? He's like, well, just stay away from electricity. He's like, I'm an electrician. I was like, that's funny.
And then he's like fighting demons at the end. He's like, I died from electricity. And he's just fucking fighting demon skeletons because he's like, I'm not going to die.
Swag. So that was funny.
So funny.
And we laughing at some shit. And I thought the dialogue and the banter was surprisingly not too cringy. And the jokes landed. And you said this is your second watch.
Yeah.
And you said
I still laughed out loud. You saw me laughing out loud.
Yeah, it was minimum cringe surprisingly.
Yeah.
And I think that's what dictates sometimes liking and not liking a film is when the cringe factor is low Jokes aren't forced. And yeah, a lot of times, especially with these superhero films, they're doing these like insert joke here and they just don't land right. And then especially on rewatches, they're even worse.
There was a couple of those in this, like when the Atom Smasher's like talking about this Dr. Fate's helmet, and he's like, we should put a towel on that or something. Like, I thought that was kind of like insert joke here, but it still was
agreed.
decent.
I agreed. I was like, yeah, why is that just like on the table if it's gonna possess you or kill you?
Put like a blanket on that or a towel. Or
I fucked with it because I don't think it was supposed to be like overly funny.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing they be doing is when they think the joke is funnier than it is, and they really
like lean into it.
Yeah, like they did that in the car with the dude that gets shot in the stomach, and they talk about his baldness.
Yeah.
And then they make a joke, and it was funny, but then they do another clip where he's looking self-conscious.
Right.
I'm like, you don't need to drive the joke into us. Like, it was funny, and then it makes it less funny. I even whispered to you, leaned over, was like, they don't need to do that part. You don't have to double punch it.
Facts. Yeah. I really wasn't a huge fan of the Eternium thing with the
where they take a word and add eum at the end.
And then also like it's so Vibranium-esque, first of all. Yeah. Like this movie's so funny. It almost just like owns the fact that it's just copying tons of Marvel shit. They're like, fuck it. They just hit the fucking button eventually. They're like, dude, whatever. Our shit is so similar to fucking Marvel, like fuck it, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? So,
it worked,
but I didn't like the bikes. Those are what killed me. I was like, dude, the flying bike thing. I'm like,
it's Marvel's Avengers one.
Yeah, I was just like, for real, dude. I was just like, too much.
So out of place in the world that they were living in. It did not make sense.
No, it was too much, and it was really unnecessary. I don't think you needed to add.
They wanted a chase scene. Yeah. They wanted to implement a chase scene that was exciting that could go with Black Adam.
Yeah.
And they brought in Marvel Avengers 1, like Thor, the fucking Thanos' peeps.
Dude,
like,
fucking
fuck?
for real. The Chitauri or whatever. That's crazy.
Good reference. I did like the I don't need a box for my lunch line.
That was good.
And the sarcasm line.
Yeah. He was like, that was sarcasm. He's like, that was just a lie. Dr. Fate was like, it wasn't sarcasm, it was just a lie.
Yeah, then he comes back and says something, and he's like, that was sarcasm.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it was like the same thing. And he's like, Dr. Fate was like, that wasn't really sarcasm, it was just a lie. Because he was like,
yeah, like, okay, let's get into characters. I want to talk about Dr. Fate and Pierce Brosnan.
Okay, cool.
Because, all right, let's go through the characters. We'll start with Dr. Fate.
Dr. Fate.
What'd you think?
I fucking really liked his design. Like, that was probably my favorite thing about him. Is he was a great actor. He's a great actor. So like, I enjoyed his character. I think he was holding the emotional aspect of the Justice Society together. Like, without him, I wouldn't have bought the emotion at all of the friendship between him and Hawkman. Like, I didn't really get it. But he was the only one who could really bring it. Like, his acting and his
more sophisticated
portrayal, yeah, it was really good. But I just, when he put his helmet on for the first time, you saw his design and his voice, the way his voice sounded. I was like, this is really cool. But like, again, he's just like, he's so much like Doctor Strange.
He's like, isn't he? Isn't though?
It's so funny.
You know what I mean? Like, he does see the future, and he's not like
Doctor Strange sees the future.
Oh, that's true. I guess he outrightly did, but that's only because he had the stone,
the Time Stone. Yeah, but he has the helmet.
Yeah, no, but
and that's the only reason he can
that.
see the future. It's because the helmet.
Okay.
Like, the Time Stone to Doctor Strange is the helmet to Doctor Fate.
Okay.
They're both doctors. Okay, he can multiply himself a bunch. He does magic.
Okay,
it's literally identical.
I'm curious to see like when Doctor Fate.
Yeah, who came out first?
Yeah, because
Google it, dude. Is it Google?
First comic. All right, so Doctor Fate's first comic, May 1940.
Ooh,
I think he might be.
Yeah, Doctor Strange definitely came second. Most Marvel came second. Like in comic book world, most Marvel stuff came second.
So shout out. So Doctor Strange be jacking Doctor Fate style,
right? Like, it's just funny because like I said, I think DC just finally was like, dude, we have the same fucking characters. Like, we just got to own the shit out of it.
What the fuck? I'm so curious right now.
I guarantee it's Dr. Fate.
63.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. So
23 years.
Yeah,
right?
Good math. So yeah, I think personally, Dr. Fate is cooler than Doctor Strange.
I do too.
And I think Pierce Brosnan crushed it. He was I almost want to say he's like my favorite thing of this film, but it's only because he was support. Like if the whole film was about him, I don't know if he could have held the film together, but it's because all the other elements made him be even cooler.
I agree.
So
he was fun, and I think that the fact that they didn't try in any way in this film with him to just shy away from his powers because he's so much like Doctor Strange, they were just like I said, they just said, "Fuck it, we're just gonna do what he does." And like, I fucked with that.
OG. He's like 23 years before.
He's definitely OG. No, he's a cool character, and that whole kind of lure with the helmet, and that it's from outer space.
I wouldn't.
And when he touches it, he just kind of goes into a daze and like sees the future, but he can't see the whole thing. You can kind of only see bits and parts. It kind of reminded me of what's the bald chick in Doctor Strange? The ancient one or whatever.
Ancient one.
Yeah. It reminds me of when she was like, "Hey, I've looked in the future 1,000 times, and this has always been the end point." Like it was really similar to that when he was like, "This, I don't see anything past this, and it's peaceful, and I love it." It's just kind of like a cool correlation there.
I wouldn't mind seeing more Dr. Fate though. If he somehow comes back,
They should do an origin film.
I would totally go.
Or not like an origin, but like
Justice Society could do a film of sorts and say there's other members and he's in it. I would totally be into that.
I'm all for it.
His character has so much mystique and mystery, and like you can unpack a lot. I feel, and I would just be interested in that character's lore.
I wish they brought in that Amanda Waller was running it later, because we kind of know Amanda Waller is a bad person. Like she's bad, you know. So like I wish they kind of, when they introduced the Justice Society, they kind of had like a more mysterious, subtle connection.
I thought it was an organic way of introducing more characters into the DC universe, having Amanda Waller, you said her name is right, and it was kind of subtle, but right in the open. It's like, okay, we don't need to origin story everything. Like just throw us in there. Okay, she's the connection point. Like it's her squad that she.
Yeah, but she runs like the Suicide Squad, which is like a totally fucked up group of people that she like manipulates and like threatens to murder if they go. You know what I mean? She's a bad person. She's bad. So like it was kind of like, okay, so I know something's a little off like with her style of doing stuff. So her being a part of this means that they're not entirely what they seem to be, you know?
Okay.
And that was like right off the bat, where I wished it was kind of like they could have played this role of the Justice Society is the good people, and we kind of got that vibe the whole time, and then all of a sudden it kind of flipped to show that she was a part of it and really her intentions weren't good. Like that would have been a little more interesting, but I think it was still fine.
What did you think of the noise that Dr. Fate made when he got stabbed? It was like, oh, it was a, oh. It was like a little fam, but I don't think you make masculine noises when you get stabbed. I was just watching.
You don't go, ugh.
Yeah, like
you
I was
might,
just,
actually.
No, check this. So you like this, Lord of the Rings, fun fact.
Oh, turn the fuck up.
Okay. Saruman, the wizard, the white wizard?
Yeah. Saruman.
Okay. Well, Saruman, and they confuse me sometimes. It's Saruman.
Sauron and Saruman.
Saruman is the wizard.
Yes.
So when they were filming that,
I'm such a nerd.
I love it. So Peter Jackson was telling him, the actor, is it Christian? What the fuck's his name? He was like, you need to like project the noise when you get stabbed.
And he knew about, I
and
saw
he's
the
like,
same thing,
that's not the noise people make when they get stabbed in the back.
Because he was in Vietnam, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
He's also a shady, like,
yeah.
He's into some dark art shit for real, for real. I don't know if you've seen some shit on him or not.
No, but I know he was in war. Like, he actually was in war.
Yeah, so. I think that was his reference of knowing what the noise is that people make when they get stabbed in the back, which is really dark, but very interesting. And when he does get stabbed on
Weathertop. No, sorry, it wasn't Weathertop. It was the top of his tower. Weathertop is the other place where fucking Frodo gets stabbed. My bad.
You need to reel it in like a smidge. Okay.
I need to fucking hold myself
accountable. It's not Ian McClellan. What the fuck is his name? Saruman.
It's Saruman.
Shut up. Yo, we like that ass need to review those.
Oh yeah, we will.
What the fuck? That's not his name.
Just type in Lord of the Rings cast.
I did. Don't even start with me.
The struggle is so fucking real. awesome.
Because they didn't give me the whole fucking cast. That's why I was like, what the fuck is this dude's name? I think it's Chris something. What the fuck is it? Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee. Rest in peace.
Lee. Did he RIP recently?
Yeah. It was not that recent, but yes.
Rest in peace, Robbie Coltrane. Hagrid. He died.
Yeah.
Sad about that. Anyways, so the noise that people make when they're stabbed in the back, I don't know if there was some inspiration drawn from that or he thought he would make that noise, Dr. Fate would, but
I like
it. Made me chuckle, but it could have been the noise of Dr. Fate made me get stabbed in the back. I don't know.
Yeah.
It just made me think of that clip of Christopher Lee talking about what it really sounds like when you get stabbed in the back.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah, it was definitely a funny noise.
Oh, I think it was. In my head, it's spelled OOAT. It's like oh, like, whatever. I fucks with it. Okay, moving on. Sorry for that. Extremely long segue. Adam Smasher. What do you think of him?
I think it's funny that
actually talking about costume of Dr. Fate. Fucks with it.
I do. Yeah, his design was my favorite thing. Like,
okay, all right, sorry. So Adam Smasher, go ahead.
It's Ant-Man. So how do we feel about Ant-Man?
I think his costume's better than Ant-Man though.
Do you?
His mask's like Deadpool.
He did look like Deadpool.
And it's an Atom symbol. It was way cooler than Ant-Man.
Yeah, so it's like you have so yeah, it's you have Ant-Man and Deadpool, which are both Marvel characters combined into one uniform.
Adam Smasher.
Yeah, he was. I like him as a character. I thought it was kind of fun that he was like, he was a nephew, right, of the original, which is a famous actor. I forgot his name.
Don't make me look another name.
No, he's super famous. Anyway, but like, yeah, it was fun that it wasn't actually him. It was his kind of first time in action. I thought that was kind of cute.
It was adorable, really.
Yeah, and I like how he like got lost. That was like one of my favorites.
When he's going the wrong way,
he's like, I'm like 2 steps away, guys, and all of a sudden he sees the explosion behind him. He's like, fuck! He runs back the other way.
That was actually funny.
Yeah. No, I think he was a good character. I just think like his powers were pretty like we've just seen it, but it's fine because like he was probably first too. Like realistically, Atom Smasher sounds more like it came first than Ant-Man does. Like Ant-Man sounds like not first. It's copy. So I'm with it. Like I thought it was cool.
I thought they used his character sparingly, which is good. And same with Cyclone, sparingly. I did have a question with Adam Smasher. Did he have to grow everything simultaneously, or could he just like grow one part?
I think he's simultaneous, kind of like Ant-Man.
So you can't just like grow his dick way bigger and then just like.
I don't think so. But if his dick grew at like a relative speed though, like he must have a pretty small dick because there wasn't like a giant bulge at any point in time.
Oh wow! Pause. Super pause. That's sus.
You're the one who asked first about his dick. And
no, I asked about his powers. If he could do that.
Oh, okay.
I didn't look at his bulge. Goodness gracious, King Sus over here. So you liked his costume, or you didn't like because it wasn't bulgy enough?
Yeah, sure. I didn't really care for his costume. I thought it was just Deadpool and Ant-Man. Like I didn't
with less bulge.
Yeah, it was fine.
Cyclone.
So I really like the actress a lot. Like I was convinced, and she was really cool, and like somebody who I fucked with. I really like the actress. The design of the character and like the way her powers worked and shit, I was like, whatever.
They could have done it better, but I think yet again they used her sparingly, which was wise. Yeah. She wasn't.
She's not someone that I'd be interested in seeing again, but I would be interested in seeing the actress again in that role. That's fine. I just like don't care about her power set. Like I'd rather see her be like the cool person behind the buttons because she's smart, like IQ and shit. Like she's dope.
So Hawkman. I actually didn't mind his costume.
I didn't mind it either. Like it's not like I hated it. It's just ridiculous. Like the way he looks when he's standing in the street with fucking wings and like the beak and like the way those two things go over the side. Just looks ridiculous. It's so funny. I love it.
How hard would that be to pull off though? Like if we had that costume on?
Yeah, like
he pulled it off.
So Falcon. So if we're talking about Falcon here.
Hawkman was a cooler costume by far.
Than Falcon?
Like I mean, 100 times.
Yeah, it's
got the red specs.
All I know is that Falcon, Hawkman is.
Put respect on his name.
He can fucking take a beating. Dude was getting his ass kicked and just not. like, where did he get his powers? I'm curious. Like, I want to know because, like, the dude, because I heard in the comics there's two different stories that have been told about him. Like, one is like he's more of an animatronic, got like these animatronic wings and shit, and like that's why he got his powers, is because it's kind of like Falcon in the MCU. But they went full that he's like super powered, you know, like the dude could take a fucking beating. And I'm curious, what is it, alien? Is, you know what I mean? What is it? Like, how did he get that power? Because
he had a 6 ship.
It's totally indestructible, completely indestructible. You caught that line? He was like, yeah, it's made out of like whatever metal, like completely indestructible. And then like the fucking demon comes up and just blows the ship in pieces. I'm like,
I didn't catch that.
I'm like, how are you gonna go from saying that it's completely indestructible in the first half of the movie, and then the second half you have this demon just like break it in half and explode it? I'm like, what the fuck?
I didn't make the connection of that line to when it actually exploded. Like when he said it's indestructible, I was like, oh, cool.
Oh, cool, dude.
But I didn't connect it with the dude fucking
completely indestructible is what his exact words. And there was no like funny joke to like bounce back on that. Be like, oh, I guess it's not indestructible,
which is good,
but it's just funny. Like, I guess not, dude.
What do you think of his performance, though?
Good. Very good. I like the
too.
actor. I thought I took him seriously. Like, that's kind of how I felt about all that the performances in this movie. I don't think that anybody stood out as like, oh, that doesn't work. Like, I don't think anybody was like that.
And even down to the comedy relief, like the brother.
Yeah, no, everybody
wasn't
worked.
too.
The villain was cool.
So the demonic, what was it? Demonic champion. Mm-hmm. What did you think of his look? And
just a little too CGI from it's the DC villain CGI that is like kind of consistent throughout. Wow. It's like, especially next to Black Adam, it was a little jarring, and all the other superheroes, because none of them were like full CGI except for Dr. Fate, which also, might I add, I wish they had Dr. Fate costume built out not in CGI. Every time we saw him, he was full CGI. I thought it would have been cool to see him like real costume built in that look when he's not flying around in the sky or whatever. Like, I thought it would just have been.
I think when he had his helmet off, he was like regular.
I think every time he took his helmet off, he was like, oh, maybe at one point.
It could have been still CGI. You know how they wear those tight suits?
Yeah.
And it just looks kind of real. They did a good job with that. I thought the CGI top to bottom of the film was stellar.
Oh, yeah, it was good. I just think the last villain guy, it was just
too fantasy.
Too CGI. Yeah, like it was like.
It was from a demon from hell. I mean, it's hard to make that. Like,
no, I know. But you know, I always value good makeup. Yeah. Over CGI.
They don't do that. They don't do that anymore. I think it's because I'm sure it's just too inconvenient sometimes, especially like.
I know, but like, think about if they found a super jacked dude that was just as jacked as fucking The Rock, and they make-upped him up and fucking made him with like horns, and it would have looked way cooler. It's almost like the white orc thing in The Hobbit that really killed me. It's like you could have had such a sick opportunity to get some huge jack dude and paint him all white.
Could have been the Rock.
Exactly. And it would have been way cooler, dude.
Facts.
Like, it's just always when they cop out and just make this big CGI character, it's so much harder to be invested in that.
I agree.
So, I don't know.
I gave him a pass to an extent, but I think face value, subconsciously, I was not invested, but I was like, oh, it looks kind of cool. They were going really like satanic, like Satan makes a cameo in the film.
Yeah, like the upside down 5-pointed star and shit. It was like really crazy.
It was super Satan-esque.
I did like the underworld demon shit though. Like, especially because it's the opposite of the wizards. They have like this opposing force. There's these 5 demons or whatever versus the 5 wizards. Like, there's 2 different worlds that fight against each other, and that's why they resurrected. I mean, they made this champion to fight the champion on Earth. Like, it was cool. Like, I dig that.
5 or
I don't know. I think it was 5.
I thought it was just like Hell's champion.
Nah, they have like the same way the wizards are on like Earth side.
Was Satan like flying around.
No, he was Sibeth. He's like a demonic.
Because there was a chick that rolled out. She's like one of the 5 too. Then
no, remember when he went underground? Yeah. And then there was like all those.
There was a chick that like emerged.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That was one of them too. Okay.
Yeah,
so they didn't show all of them.
No, I don't think so. They just kind of like showed clips of it. But I just thought that whole concept is cool that the wizards have this opposing force.
I wasn't totally privy on what was happening. I thought it was Satan and like some succubus bitch.
No, yeah.
But it was one of the like. Council of the Hell people.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's dope. I like that.
I still think, and I said this on the Shazam podcast I did, the dude that's playing Shazam's
the black
wizard.
Yeah, he's the fucking man.
He's the man, but it's so out of place to me. I'm like, he is not the wizard.
I love it, dude.
It's so
fucking. He's in
me.
so many good roles. Like he's in fucking Marvel.
This isn't the role for him.
I love it.
Aesthetically, I don't buy it.
I feel like it works so well because there's like a comedy in it too. Like the way he acts it out is so on point to me. He's fucking hilarious with that shit.
Anti-wizard.
That's why it works. That's why it works. If it was so wizardy, it wouldn't work to me. I love how he's just like doesn't look
His
like
accent is complete trash. He's like trying to sound like some outer space wizard.
I love it.
It's ridiculous.
I love it.
So Black Adam, what did you think of him overall?
I think the only thing that kind of is a little weird is I wish he didn't learn English so fast. Like it was just instantly he was talking English. Like I wish there was a little bit more of a lag period with that, or like something kind of similar to another Marvel movie, Apocalypse. You know, X-Men Apocalypse, where he like plugs in the TV and then learns English. Like they could have just ripped that if they're gonna rip everything else. Like why not? You know,
that's Sony. So
no, it wasn't. X-Men Apocalypse was Fox.
Oh, that's what I meant.
But it was Marvel.
No. Was it Sony? No, it's Fox.
Fox, but it's Marvel.
Yeah, I know.
Just rip it, dude. Why don't you ripped everything else?
You know,
Ancient, like Middle East comes out of a fucking tomb. He saw a TV. First thing he did, he should have just plugged into it. And I was like, word. You just learned English from the TV, just like Apocalypse did.
You know what movie does it really well that I just saw is that 3,000 Years of Longing, The Genie.
Oh yeah,
it's similar to plugging into the TV, but just like more. That film was when I did the review for 3,000 Years of Longing. People should check that film out. Love that film. But it's like more elegant, and that's how I describe the film as it should be if it's a genie film or a djinn film. It's just the way they explain things. It could be like a, if you want to call it like a copy, but so many things have been done. It's like you got to give people a little slack for being a little. There's symmetry involved with certain things, but they do the things elegantly. Mm-hmm. And it's cool how the genie adjusts to language and acclimate with his new surroundings and stuff. Yeah, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about that.
I mean,
film, but.
I definitely want to see it. The whole, I'm a super big actor and I'm not very good at accents, so I'm just not going to do it, kind of kills me sometimes. Like, for example... It's funny because he actually is the opposite of this. I just watched this movie and I don't know what it was called, so I'm sorry. Forgive me, people. It was with Jason Momoa, and it was like this movie about cannibals that got kicked out, like cannibals in the desert or something, and he was like a cannibal, and like it was really fucking weird. And this chick was like, they like pretty much everybody who went to jail and weren't part of society, they kicked him out into the middle of the desert, and like there was this group that was cannibals, and that's what Jason Momoa was. And he was supposed to be Cuban, and his accent was fucking terrible. I mean, like, god awful. And Jason, I fucking love your work. If you're listening, I know you are. I love your work. You're fucking fantastic. You're great. But like, that accent was fucking bad, dude. And like, it's funny because The Rock probably just thought about it. It was like, look, I could try to do like a Middle Eastern accent here and like give that a shot, but I know I would butcher the fuck out of it. So like, I'm just not gonna do it.
But sometimes you just gotta do it. Like, not do it. And just do it. You know what I mean? So
I respect it. I respect the choice to just go full English. But other than that, his character, I thought The Rock did a really good job at not trying too hard. He wasn't like, you could tell he really wanted to do the role. You can tell he really liked it. You can tell he was having fun with it. You can tell he finally found a superhero role that he didn't feel like was cheesy, all of the above. And
he picked the most badass.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Super egotistical. I love it. And I respect the fact that he went all out for it and he did his very best. And I loved how he just murdered people. I think he said I'm not a hero like 12 times in the film, which is like fucking hilarious. Like, how many times do you say, we get it, bro. We get it. You're still saving people, so you're fucking damn near are. But like, whatever, dude. You're not a hero. We get it. But it was good. I really enjoyed it. And like you said, the entrance was fucking phenomenal. I just love the way he murdered people. It's my favorite.
You like his costume?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I didn't like the end costume that much with the gold and the
too elegant.
The gold and the cape. I was just like, you're doing too much.
The hood was
the one. Yeah,
the homely hood was G'd up.
It was the one. He should have kept that. I loved how he just floated everywhere.
Why wouldn't you? If that was an option, I'd be floating right now.
But I even thought that like at the end when Dr. Fate is like getting murked and the shield like starts lifting and fucking Hawkman just starts running up the stairs. I'm like, you can fly. What are you doing? I'm like, this is your like boy that's dying right now. Like, fly. And like, it's just funny because fucking Black Adam just hovered everywhere, and I just enjoyed the shit out of it. He just didn't give a fuck about walking. Like, he walked like 3 times in the movie.
Fuck that, dude. I wouldn't either.
It was so badass.
His presence on film was tight.
Yeah.
Black Adam was
It was
what
good.
it should have been. I think, even as much as I'm not a huge fan of The Rock, he's Black Adam, and that was one thing I was going to give him kudos for. Is I would say like 91% of the time, 92% of the time, I really was believing it was Black Adam, which is tough when you're so famous. And then that's just like when you see some of these people that have played huge roles, like a superhero, for instance, like Robert Downey Jr., you're always gonna be like Iron Man.
Right.
And he's a great actor. He could probably pull off some good shit. But The Rock I didn't hold him at high esteem. And then to see him as Black Adam and believe he's Black Adam is a good job, dude. And I feel like that's a big thing for me to say, being that I don't care for the guy.
Right.
You know,
No,
so
I love that.
Good for him.
I like how he didn't use doors. Motherfuckers just blasted through walls.
And he just murdered.
And he knew what doors was because he admitted. He's like, no, dude. Like, how else would we get in rooms?
Yeah, his comedic timing and tone through the film was pretty on point.
Yeah, it was on point.
Why was Shazam not in this film? Was he not known to society yet? Because I know his events in his film were kind of contained. Are people not aware of Shazam?
Yeah, because you didn't really see any Shazam comics in the kid's room. And the kid like wasn't really talking about Shazam. He was talking about Batman. He had a bunch of Batman, and he didn't talk about Shazam. So I don't think Shazam really has been that public. I mean, we're getting a Shazam 2. That trailer is already out. You saw it.
Yeah.
So like, maybe it's gonna kind of explain something there. Maybe he'll in Shazam 2 he'll be like, dude, Black Adam, like that's another version of me. Like, you know, like whatever.
Because that's also Shazam's villain, is Black Adam.
Yeah, so there's obviously some correlation there, but I just don't think Shazam is. Excuse me. I don't think Shazam is built enough as a person to even come close to going up against Black Adam. Like as a hero, he's just not made it yet. He's still a little kid and still like super getting used to his powers and shit. You know, I don't think he would be ready to go against a Black Adam. He'd just get his ass kicked. So that's why I think the Superman thing is pretty fucking sweet.
Yeah. Okay. I liked how Dr. Fate that scene where Black Adam is underwater in this underwater facility, which is apparently yet again, they're supposed to be the heroes, right? That are imprisoning him in this underwater facility with these confinement tanks. And you said it was like probably thousands of people. Like this is not
At least hundreds, yeah.
This doesn't look like a hero's facility. So like you were alluding that maybe the Justice Society is not as good as.
I think the Justice Society thinks they're good, but I think that's because Amanda Waller's lying to them and acting like they're doing good. But I think that Amanda Waller's out for her own interests, like she always is. You know,
that's weird that she would outwit Dr. Fate.
Yeah, but it seems like Dr. Fate is kind of.
He's doing it for the greater good. Maybe he knows that if he helps her, that later on something else, like, I don't know. But he also said he couldn't see past a certain point.
That's what I'm saying. So he probably doesn't know, you know?
But it seems like he would. I don't know.
And it also seems like his future visions are pretty fucking vague. So I don't think it's...
Okay, so when he's in that underground facility or underwater facility and Dr. Fate co-signs Black Adam, and acknowledges, you're not a hero, but we need a badass. Thought that was dope, right? Mm-hmm. And I didn't understand why he was swimming so quickly in his base model form and then drowns and dies and then says Shazam. Why didn't he say Shazam when before he was fighting the guards and trying to escape this?
He was trying to. You saw, there was a couple times during that fight, and I actually heard the same argument online, which is funny because I paid attention really in detail this time. There was a couple times during the fight he was trying to take the thing off his face and he couldn't get it off. And then but they didn't really show how he got it off in the water. All of a sudden, he just had it off. And I just thought once he got it off in the water, he should have been able to say Shazam underwater. I don't know why he fucking couldn't. He took that shit off, and he was like,
"Come on,
you should have just like number one focus when you got in the water. It should have been like, get the thing off your face, say Shazam, bro." But
yeah, that whole sequence, I didn't mean to sound stupid when I was trying to explain it, but the fact that it was supposed to be a hero facility, it wasn't. Or maybe it is. It just looked really dark. There's like hundreds or if not thousands people in these water confined cells where they were dormant. And then as he's escaping with people that have guns, he's not saying Shazam, and then he like gets in the water and then drowns, and then Dr. Fate talks to him in his head and he says Shazam. It just was like
Dr. Fate talked first. I think which was cool was that when he was able to say Shazam, he actually met his family, and then his son, who was the true hero of Klondike. I just always hear Klondike.
Klondike.
He was like, "You're not ready yet. Like, they need a hero. Like, you need to go back." So I thought that was cool. That's what got him to like wake up and say Shazam. He's like, "You need to say Shazam. You need to say the words." So I thought that was like a nice little touch. And also they had to do the timing right to make it so that Dr. Fate could die. That was like the whole point.
Right. Just those type of scenes in some of these movies, I'm like, I just don't see this actually being how it would work out in this scenario.
Especially because like the guys with guns were right there when he opened the fucking thing. It's like, were they just hanging out behind his fucking cell? Like,
yeah, it's just it's one of those things I always say. Just write it differently. Does it really need to? You got to build that excitement for something that kind of works counterintuitively for the film and the character. The rate that he was swimming, you see that they were showing, like it was all CGI obviously, but he was just, the way they had him look swimming, it was like, that dude is like 3 Michael Phelps right now, which is like nuts.
I mean, it was up, but yeah, it was.
And then
fast.
he drowns. Like if he was swimming that fast, he would have got to the top. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
So that whole sequence, I just was like, what the fuck are they doing right now?
Or he would have just died from the pressure underwater because it was too deep. But yeah.
Or he could have just said Shazam. Like, it's just a poorly written sequence, in my opinion. The coolest part was Dr. Fate co-signing.
Yeah, having him come back. I thought that was fire.
It was dope.
Yeah.
So, bonus scene, Superman makes a cameo. Henry Cavill is apparently reprising his role. I heard that previously, but I didn't know it was because
I also heard he was leaving The Witcher for this. So
they must have gave him a whopping.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to wait on him for The Witcher anyway, so he's like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm coming back.
Yeah, no, I respect it. Henry Cavill's good. I like him in the role of Superman.
Yeah.
To be honest, I always have.
I have too, and I guess he's doing a sequel to Man of Steel. Like, they're like,
I would love that.
They're dismissing Batman vs Superman. That's not part of his trilogy.
I mean, I don't blame him, dude. The movie was bad.
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah. Can I, going back to characters though, before we dive too far into, Superman versus Black Adam, which is probably what they're gonna do.
They do Superman versus Black Adam, like Superman versus Batman. like, don't do that movie.
No, they can, because at this point, DC EU just doesn't give a fuck. They're like, no, we're just gonna copy everything that's been done, and we're just gonna do it again because we don't give a fuck. So maybe they will. But nonetheless, I thought it was fucking hilarious how the girl and her brother and the kid would just show up everywhere. Like, motherfuckers would get up the stairs of that temple in fucking 5 seconds to be in that scene. They'd get down from the temple to be like down in the they were in every scene, and they just somehow fucking appeared there, dude. I thought it was fucking hilarious. Like, especially after like Black Adam gets thrown to the ground and like crashes in the ground, and like all of a sudden they're like there on the sidewalk, and they're like, I'm going to help him, and then like he has to get saved, and then he's like fucking there again, and then they're in the temple, he's fucking there, they're back in the apartment, he's there. Like, the little kid was fucking everywhere.
You're a skateboard, dude.
Dude, he was such a cool 90s kid. Like, straight from the 90s.
He was really helping
skateboard.
out. Black Adam fucked with them, too. They were kind of homies.
Yeah, they were
he was
cool.
helping him.
He was very similar to Shazam's little friend kid. He's like, likes comic books.
That would be a cool thing to do in the Shazam.
Have them be like friends and trying to stop them from fighting each other.
Like, they're friends fighting and stuff. Or like, maybe Black Adam's kid dies, or like not his kid, but like his friend dies based on something Shazam's.
Oh yeah, good motivation.
And that's how they fight. That'd actually be really cool.
Yeah.
Give me the writer's room always.
But yeah, fucking, I just thought it was hilarious. They teleported so many times in this movie. It was fucking awesome.
Dude, they're awesome.
I loved when Dr. Fate talked to Black Adam and he was like, "Bring back the prisoner and I'll read his mind." And he's like, "You already killed him?" And he's like, looks back and the dude just fucking hits the ground and goes, you hear like a really gross, like dark splat. Like, you could hear like bones crack and shit. I was like, ooh, the motherfucker just died. He's like, yeah.
He didn't make it.
He didn't make it.
Yeah, and like when he made those potentially cringy lines, they weren't cringy.
No, they weren't.
That's what I'm saying. The timing of the dialogue and just the film itself was well timed, and it could have went the other way, and this film been a shitty film.
Yeah. One thing I fucking absolutely hated, and this is like, you know, the crown being lost for 5,000 years in an open cave. It's pretty fucking bad. But like, I think what tops that is the fact that like the gates of hell were opened, and the only thing we got were like really weak skeleton people. Like, I'm talking like getting hit with balls by women and children, and just like, like
they've been rotting.
The gates of hell have opened. Like, if we compare it to just Doctor Strange, I mean not Doctor Strange, sorry, fucking Stranger Things, like like that's the gates of hell, and there's some really crazy shit down there. You know,
maybe
it was just bad. The skeletons were bad. They're terrible.
Yeah, I didn't feel like the gates of hell were open. Like, I personally didn't know they were opened. But I'm glad it wasn't overly dramatic where everybody was dying.
I just don't think they needed to get there. I think that the whole sequence of the little kid being whispering to a crowd of people that are yelling, like, did you hear how quiet he was? He's like, "Hey guys, we need to come together." Like that whole sequence, it was. And then he like gets the group to like come help fight these skeletons that like couldn't kill a fucking cat, a kitten. The kitten would have been like, and the fucking skeleton would be like, and fucking die.
Dude, they were rotting corpses. They don't have a lot left in it.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. They just didn't need to get there. He never needed to sit on the actual throne. They could have got it to like Black Adam shows up right before he gets on the throne. And then like they could have avoided all of that bullshit with the fucking crowd and the little kid whispering to them, and somehow they all hear him. Get rid of all that. That was pretty fucking terrible.
That's fair. Do you have anything else to say about Superman entering?
Yeah, so I know that this is what The Rock wanted. There's even parts when they're fighting in the room, and even when he first shows up in the little kid's room, he like zaps the wall, right? He wakes up and zaps the wall, and like it's the face of Superman that he zapped.
Oh, word.
And then like there's a part where he's fighting Hawkman in the room, and he like punches through a wall and like punches right through the Superman symbol. Like, he was going for this for a while. Like, he's the reason Henry Cavill's back is The Rock, because The Rock's like, no, like, dude, we need to do this. So it's really The Rock pushing this forward, because the DCEU was dying. Like, it was supposed to be over after Black Adam and like Shazam 2. They were like, hey, we're gonna call it Aquaman 2. Like, those were like the last ones. They were like, oh, and then The Flash. They were like, all right, this is our last wave. We're not gonna do anything else after this. Like, no more Wonder Woman, no more this, no more that. They were just gonna call it. But I think The Rock is like, no, Black Adam's going to do good enough where I can resurrect this series, and I'm going to be kind of the spearheader of it. And I respect it, dude. I really respect him coming in and be like, let me be the savior of the DCEU, because I think they need someone to do it,
I don't know if this film is going to create that type of traction that they want, but I think from materials point of view, and I guess from my vantage, it does feel that I would be interested to see the direction of where it's going now, because of this film,
right?
Because they brought Superman in, and they brought in a good villain that makes it interesting. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you always need a good villain, and I think this opens up a lot of different possibilities for this source material.
Yeah, I agree, and I think Black Adam's a good enough character, and I do think that The Rock has a big enough pull where kind of no matter what, this movie's already a success, right? It hasn't even gone out to streaming yet. Like, the amount of success is going to bring in for Warner Brothers and DC.
I think that he thought he was going to pull in $1 billion from it, though, and it's not going to make that.
I don't think so, dude. I don't think so. And maybe, but I don't think so, dude. It's hard to pull $1 billion off of that.
Obscure of a character.
Also, the DCEU just has been declining. Like, since Batman vs Superman, it hasn't been doing numbers. So Justice League was really bad, and then the Snyder Cut was like trying to resurrect it. Didn't really work like the way they wanted to. And then since then, it's just kind of been HBO releases, and it's not.
Well, I mean, if you look at the box office for Justice League was $657.9 million.
Right, but then look at after that.
Batman vs Superman did $872 million. I know that's not after. The first Wonder Woman did $822.8 million.
That one was big, but that was first before both those, wasn't it?
I don't know. I'm just like giving ballparks. Like,
after Justice League, everything started fucking tanking, dude.
Wonder Woman came out like in 2017. I think so didn't Justice League. Yeah, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, but Wonder Woman came first for sure. For sure.
Wonder Woman 2 box office 169.6.
Bad.
But that was also when like theaters were shut down and stuff. And
I know, but it was not good.
And yeah, I mean,
it was not a good movie either. It was fucking terrible.
Yeah, it was shitty. Yeah, I mean, the fact that Black Adam has done $250 million in the first 2 weeks.
It's pretty impressive. To bring a declining universe kind of back to its feet. It didn't have to, in order for him to have success, if he breaks 500 mil, dude, like he did it. He brought a fucking dying universe back onto its feet. It's
with
impressive.
A character that most people don't. Unless you're super into DC, most people don't know who that is.
Right.
But they know The Rock, and they're like, oh, what's this?
Yeah,
and so,
The Rock. I like The Rock. And then also the fact that, like, the movie wasn't terrible. It wasn't like you go in and you leave and you're like, don't go see that. That's when movies die, dude. Word of mouth is still the biggest number one key to movie success. If people are saying the movie sucks after it comes out and don't go see it, people don't go see it. If people say it's good, you go see it. Like, for example, if I had told you this movie sucked ass, don't even worry about it, it's trash, you wouldn't have seen it.
No, I would have just based on previous experience. Well, in this case, because I'm not a fan of The Rock, but just films in general.
Yeah, but in a lot of times, in a lot of cases, when you hear that a movie's shitty, like even if you tell me a movie's shitty, I'm like, all right, if I wasn't interested in seeing it to begin with, I'm just not going to go see it.
Fair.
As opposed to if I wasn't interested in seeing it, but then someone who I somewhat trust tells me, hey, dude, like I liked it, I enjoyed it, I'll be like, oh, word, I'll go check it out. It's not a big deal. So that's the number one key to a movie's success. So the fact that these numbers are continue to go up. They didn't drop stagnant after opening weekend. That's important, and I think it's going to keep going up. I think it'll break 500 million, and if it does, that's a great success for the DCU.
Yeah, I mean the reception of it at this point in time, IMDb gave it a 71% or a 7.1. Mm-hmm. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 40% from critics, but I think fans
they were up over 85. I think, right?
It was over 70.
Yeah,
and then Metacritic gave it a 41%.
Yeah,
which I'm surprised it's that low, but. For me, are you good to rate it? Because I'm good to wrap it up. If you want.
I don't think there's anything else I particularly want to add. I think that the one thing I do want to add is I've seen some people online since this came out. I just did a little bit of digging like I normally do, and there's a lot of hate towards it. A lot of critics or people who aren't like professional critics per se. I don't really pay attention to professional critics. More like the general YouTube breakdown movie, or they didn't have a super positive thing to say about this movie. And I would say that again, I'm being light on it. You know, I'm not being super critical. If I wanted to be super critical, I'd be like, yeah, this movie sucks. But like,
would you though?
Yeah, because like, if I was being super critical, I'd be like, way too much CGI fighting in the sky. It's not enough character building. You didn't spend enough time with these really cool characters you could have spent time with. The writing was simple and quippy. It wasn't really detailed and in depth.
Okay, yeah.
Like the little boy character was pretty weak. Like his acting wasn't great. The mom character was underutilized. She should have been really the more motivating pushing factor rather than the kid because she was a good actress. And like, I think that the villain at the end was unnecessary in the way that he was all CGI'd out. The crown being hidden for 5,000 years and the motivation to go move it out of nothing was fucking really stupid. Like, why do you need to move it? There's no motivation.
But that's what we talk about at the top of the episode. It's like taking this for like standalone, not being overly critical and comparing.
But like, that's what I'm saying. All the people online that are shitting on this movie, I think that sometimes you need to just go and eat some fucking popcorn and watch a movie. And that's rare for me to say. I've been on this fucking show a lot of times, and you know I don't do that very often. But that's because I have really high expectations for Marvel movies specifically. You built on a fucking phenomenal foundation. And then if you have the fucking balls to go out there and make a She-Hulk, like you're an idiot. That fucking show sucks, right? Like it's built in the same universe that I had Iron Man 1 in. You know what I mean? It doesn't work. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, where the DCU doesn't have that. Like, even Man of Steel is probably the most serious out of all the DCU movies. And it's like, it's still not like, oh my God, that movie's a 10 out of 10. There's movies in the MCU that are 10s out of 10 for me. You know what I mean? And it's built in a universe that's so serious, yet fun. And then you do stuff like Thor: Love and Thunder, which I think is a fucking joke, right? So, like, I get frustrated when you fall short in the expectations that you should hit based off of what you've built. But with the DCU, dude, like go in there with no fucking expectations. What do you expect? You know what I mean? Do you expect a fucking movie that's better than Marvel? You know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna be. You know that. So just sit back and try to have a good time, and then you'll realize that it's more fun than you think it is. And that's the way you have to go into a movie like this. You could tear it apart all you want, but at the end of the day, you're just making yourself more miserable than you need to be at this point.
And that's the stance that I try to have with most films I go into. It's like, yeah, I can rip this apart for a good amount of reasons, but is that a lot of times it's not fair for multiple reasons to tear movies apart, because at its core, they are good films. You're just comparing them to your favorite films or the best films you've ever seen. And yeah, that's a good merit to compare sometimes. But sometimes, like you said, just enjoy the movie for what it is and eat some fucking popcorn. And
I just think intra-universe, right? Like intra-universe, you have to stay consistent. And I don't think this breaks consistency intra-universe. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't. If anything, it's, like, not interstate, intrastate, right? So.
You're done. You're done. What are you fucking rating this movie?
Dude, fuck you. I'm going to give this a 7 flat.
I'm going to hit it with a 7.1.
Cool. Why not?
And the reason is because I was gonna hit it with like a smidgy lower, but I gave Shazam a 7 for a lot of reasons. Like, it was a decent film when I watched it. I think I watched it on mushrooms, so there was elements that I liked more. Yeah. Well, because usually, like, on mushrooms, watching films, it'll illuminate greatness and terribleness simultaneously. And there was some cringy shit in Shazam, but this film was better, I think, and I enjoyed it more, I think, as well. And so I'm gonna hit it with a 7.1 because it was a smidgy better. And yes, and I also going in low expectations and things of that nature. So I don't think it's a bad film. I like when you were just tearing it apart. I agree almost with everything you said with tearing it apart. You could do that, but it's like that's not what this film is. Like, it's not really what that.
It's unnecessary.
Like,
for sure.
Relax. Unless it's some, like, if it was the final film of a trilogy of Black Adam and they've been so good, and the third one they botch it, then you can rip it apart. But it's like, you know, give them a chance. I think it was pretty decent. The Rock wasn't bad, and I give him a lot of credit for potentially keeping this direction of this
DCEU.
DCEU, isn't it? DCEU.
DCEU.
Going. So, not a bad film. I wouldn't suggest people to watch this per se. Like, it was amazing.
I mean, 7 out of 10, you're suggesting people to watch it. You know, anything over 50%, you're like, dude, like, if you like movies, go see it, you know?
Yeah, like,
we're right there along with, like, the audience in Rotten Tomatoes. Like, if they're at 75 or whatever, like, we're right there with them. Like, I think that the majority of people see this movie for what it is and just get to sit back and enjoy fucking watching The Rock murder people is fucking awesome.
There was some things in this film that were really awesome.
Yes.
Like, better than average.
This film would have dropped under 6 if it wasn't for The Rock's opening scene as Black Adam.
That, and like, if there
was like hands down some gangster ass
super
shit.
Gangster. Like, that scene was so good. And if Dr. Fate wasn't in it, it would have been a bad movie. Yeah. But like those,
you take out the opening sequence and Dr. Fate out of the movie, and you're looking at sub 5.
Absolutely. Yeah. But those two things were so good. Yeah. And that's why I'm like able to overlook some things. And I think that sometimes when I'm reviewing films and rating them, there's redeeming factors that make me overlook other things because you clearly know quality, you did this, and I respect this. I can overlook that stupid thing because it was only 8 seconds worth of my time.
Correct.
And this was
I agree.
30 minutes.
Yeah, there was a lot more good things in this than bad things. Yeah. And the good things were really fucking good. Watching Black Adam grab that dude by the neck and fry him from head to toe and break his fucking skull neck in half. Fucking flawless.
And they had like a cool little Western shout out that he saw on
that
TV.
Little Western.
And then he does like a little Western like lightning bolt.
You know what else we didn't even talk about, which I really liked about this movie, is the fact that they made the twist of he's not the statue. And we didn't even talk about that. But that's so big, dude. Like, cool. Honestly, the fact that it was his son and that his son saved him and then he enacted vengeance to blow up the fucking... Like, that was probably honestly, that as well. If it wasn't for that,
Yeah, correct,
that would drop it under sub 5 too. Like it's that was really well done, and the fact that they didn't just go with this is him and he just happened to be a bad choice by the Wizards or whatever. Like, no, fuck that, dude. The son saved him, and then he was like, fuck this, I'm just gonna murder everyone because you killed my son. Like, word the fuck up. And my wife, like, word the fuck up. That's some
facts.
gangster shit.
Super facts. That was a really well written and
he was like fighting the Wizards at the end when they were trying to imprison him. Like, word the fuck up.
Yeah, definitely well written and well delivered with that unveil of the origin of Black Adam.
Very good.
That was like definitely redeeming for me, where I forgot to bring it up. I'm glad you did, because that was like, oh, it's cool. This is original. This isn't like most, like, here's your powers, boom. It's like, no, there was some heart wrenching.
And even the way they did it when he first looks at the statue and you see his wife die and then he says, forgive me, you think like, oh, he's asking for forgiveness from his wife for like not saving her or something. You're not even remotely thinking that it's that he wasn't the kid. Like, I just thought he was the kid because of the way you saw Shazam too, right? Yeah. Shazam was a kid and turned into an adult man, you know? So I just thought it was him, you know? And like what happened was kind of up in the air. Like, why did he turn kind of bad? Like, was it just a bad choice? Like, what was it?
Yeah.
But the fact that they let it build to that point and then you hear it from the villain that's like, oh, I heard your son Harut, was it? Cried.
You cried when...
Yeah, you cried when Harut died. And they were like, well, like, you know, fucking Hawkman was like, what the fuck is that about? And then he was just like, he kind of explained it, and then that's why he gave himself up, because he heard a little boy. Like, I thought that was fucking really cool, dude.
I agree.
I really respected the fact that they leaned into that storyline rather than just being like, we're just gonna make this some basic shit. It's fire.
Agreed. It was definitely something that I'm glad you mentioned, because that was another point that
I knew it was something I was missing.
Yeah, that kind of tied everything in real well, because the way they were storytelling the story that happened previously in his life and how he got his powers and everything. You're done.
I've done that like 4 times.
So yeah, no, that was definitely a great element of the film for sure. That helps it maintain a higher score than you might expect from us specifically too, I think.
Correct. It was definitely the best written part of the film. The way the writers put that together and was able to make that happen with it being too overly quippy and not a lot of character development. That was some really cool character stuff that they did that made it so much more legit, and his actions so much more rational in our minds, and even empathize more with him because he was so rageful and murderous because fucking vengeance. Like, turn the fuck up.
Like, just, and this is like that anti-hero shit, like justified vengeance, where you can empathize. Okay, yeah, he's murdering everybody, but I empathize why, and that's, I think, some anti-hero swag. Like, yeah, he's so doing swag. That, but word, yeah, good call on that. So yeah, definitely, it was a good film. Wasn't great, but it was good. So
enjoyable.
Yeah, you want to hit a plug?
Yeah, for surely. You already know what the fuck going on. It's John Smith. You can find me online at John X Smith. I make music, I rap. I also do this shit with this idiot. But plus a bunch of other shit, play video games and all that shit. So you can definitely tap in my shit on John X Smith on YouTube. You can just Google that. Or you can go to @MG_John X Smith and get at me on Instagram. That's usually the easiest way to get at me. But yeah, I got
my line.
I had a tape just dropped called Muddy. It's me and my boy Pseudo Black. Shit's fire. Go tap in with that. And I have a performance at El Cid in Los Angeles on the 23rd of November this year. So if you're watching this and it just came out and you live in the LA area, make sure you go tap in with it. Doors open at 5 o'clock at El Cid on the 23rd. So I'm going to be there performing, and it'll be dope to have you there. It'll be fucking super fun and lit. So.
Good. Do they get like a discount if they're like heard it from the Movie Rant Break or something?
I can do that. Just DM me. DM me if you want a ticket. I got you. Hook it up.
Free?
I'll give you a free ticket. If you DM me and say, I found you from the Movie Rant Break and you watch this whole episode, free tickets all day. Of course.
Free tickets. Word.
Of course.
I appreciate you.
Yes, sir, mate. I never sleep, man.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening to this episode. That's Black Adam. We got John Smith hitting it with a 7. Your host hitting it with a 7.1. I appreciate everybody for listening to this episode. Hope everybody having a super blessed day. Stay positive. If shit's getting shitty, it'll get better. If shit's too good, it's about to get shitty. And just stay vigilant, stay positive, and be there for your loved ones. And I appreciate everybody. Love y'all. Deuces.
Peace.